Welcome to SVGTV's news for Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. St. Vincent and the Grenadines' COVID-19 death toll now stands at 17, with the latest victim being a 74-year-old male who died on Monday, September 20th of COVID-19 related acute myocardial infarction. This was noted in a news release issued last evening by the National Emergency Management Organization, which said the patient who was unvaccinated tested positive for COVID-19 on Sunday, September 19th and had a known underlying condition. The release also noted that there are 23 COVID-19 patients at the Argyle Isolation Facility. 22 of these patients are said to be unvaccinated and one partially vaccinated. Meanwhile, NEMO said 119 new COVID-19 positive cases were reported from 652 samples processed on Monday, September 20th, 2021, resulting in a positivity rate of 18.3%. According to NEMO, all cases are contacts of positive or persons seeking care. 4 new recoveries were noted over the reporting period. 602 cases are currently active and 17 persons with COVID-19 have died. 2,964 cases of COVID-19 and 2,345 recoveries have been recorded in SVG since March 2020. NEMO said in the view of the confirmed presence of the Delta, Mu, and Gamma variants in the community and the significant increase in the number of new infections, transmission, and severe COVID-19 disease and death, strict enforcement and compliance with all protocols and recommendations by everyone is strongly recommended. The Emergency Management Organization said the correct and consistent use of masks, avoidance of crowds, physical distancing, proper hand sanitizing, and immunization with the available vaccines have all been proven to significantly reduce the risk of being infected, getting sick, or dying from the COVID-19 virus. Once persons are fully vaccinated and are over the 6-month period, they can take a COVID-19 booster shot, which has proven to be more effective against the viral illness. This was noted by Health Promotion Officer Shanika John, who was on radio on Monday evening and explained that persons who are fully vaccinated with AstraZeneca or Sputnik can use the Pfizer vaccine as their booster shot.
That we have available in St. Vincent right now are the AstraZeneca vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, and the Sputnik V vaccine. So if you are fully vaccinated with the AstraZeneca vaccine, we would recommend that you take a Pfizer vaccine as a booster shot. If you are fully vaccinated with the Sputnik, you can also take a Pfizer vaccine there. For those persons who are also interested in mixing the vaccines for increased immunity, for effectiveness and efficiency, you can take an AstraZeneca or Sputnik 1 component and take a second shot with a Pfizer vaccine. And that has been proven to be more effective, especially in Canada, where they have actually been doing that and also coming out of the UK as well.
Encouraging persons to get vaccinated, John outlined the process one should follow if they're interested in getting vaccinated.
Interested in doing that, I would invite you to call your nearest health center or polyclinic and make an appointment, or you could just call. They might be able to facilitate depending on the numbers. The thing is that you don't have to make an appointment to get the Pfizer vaccine or the Sputnik vaccine. What happened is that once the vial is open, the health team literally have a very short couple of hours in which it could be used. So if you're calling at 4 o'clock in the evening and you're interested in getting a Pfizer vaccine and it's just you, they may ask you to come back the following day, where they may have more persons in the morning who can take that shot with them. Because if they open the vial and they just give it to you, they have 6 hours to find 4 other people who will be willing to take the vaccine. And the Sputnik vaccine is similar, where it's just 2 doses per vial. And so once it has been removed from the freezer, it cannot go back. You have to discard the balance of it. So we really try to avoid wastage. And so a lot of the centers will be pooling persons together. So sometimes if you call Bookament Polyclinic, Bookament would say, okay, we could take it this morning. And then they will start to call all the other health centers in the district. Do you have anybody for Pfizer this morning? Can you send them to Bookament Polyclinic? I have 2 persons. I have 3 other vaccines available for 3 other persons who might be interested.
Meanwhile, infectious disease specialist Dr. Gerald Thompson has indicated that dexamethasone is an approved treatment being used for severe COVID-19 patients in SVG. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Dr. Thompson said that dexamethasone, a drug, is a steroid which is about 45% effective in treating COVID-19 patients.
Yeah, dexamethasone is a form of steroid. It's a very powerful steroid. And what it will do inside the body is help to prevent the inflammation that takes place, that trails the virus illnesses. And if you could control some of the inflammation, you can kind of quell down the level of the impact of the infection, and the person can certainly have some better chance of recovery. And a host of other medications have been tried in various trials over the last 18 months. And very few of them have been able to work. There are some new ones that have been approved, and St. Vincent's hoping to see if they could get a hold of those too.
The other approved drug is monoclonal, which Dr. Thompson said is very expensive and is currently not available in SVG. Dr. Thompson said that the drug ivermectin, which is in SVG and used to treat other ailments, is not approved to treat COVID-19 patients, and explained why.
Ivermectin this year, they had used a test tube in Australia and found that ivermectin did inhibit the replication, multiplication of the virus in a test tube. And they're very, very small studies. However, when they have looked at this medication, ivermectin, which is mainly used for parasites, to kill parasites like worms and so forth, in both humans and animals, they have not found that it is effective. However, some people are taking it and are swearing by it, but unfortunately, in most of the world now, most countries have disapproved the use of ivermectin for COVID-19 illnesses, especially in severe cases. And I think where individuals may have used it also is in more mild cases and so forth. But in severe cases, you really need a lot of intensive care therapy in order to stop the lungs from getting filled up, in order to stop the vascular disease from taking place.
The infectious disease specialist said that he understands that there are persons here using ivermectin to treat COVID-19, but they must be very careful, and that pharmacies must also take note.
The government does not have any ivermectin in its stores. Pharmacies typically will not have ivermectin either because it's not approved for COVID, so they would be at legal risk to give it to a patient who basically for an indication that is not approved for. Now, we believe that some people are bringing it in on the black market. It is available for worms, and the veterinary industry have higher doses for animals like cattle and horses and so forth. Sometimes because it's not available in the human dose form for an ordinary parasite, some people are using the veterinary version of it, which is sometimes 5 to 10 times the dose that is acceptable for a human being. And this is where we're having serious problems in other parts of the world.
Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Sav says that consultations on the Public Health Amendment Act has commenced, and tomorrow, Thursday, September 23rd, he is hoping to meet with the executive of the Public Service Union. On radio today, the Prime Minister said that the government received documents from the General Secretary of the PSU, Philip Bailey, and sometime last week, and now that he is back in state, he is hoping to meet with them to discuss what they propose in the document.
16th, I got it on the 17th. Well, it came to the government, on the 17th. And yesterday I gave instructions to the AG's chambers for the same group to meet, to set a meeting with the Public Service Union. Hopefully tomorrow they can find time, both sides, to discuss this document, which I've also read very carefully. In fact, I had taken it with me to Mexico and read it on the plane. So we're doing the consultations.
The Prime Minister said they are closer at finalizing the Public Health Amendment Act, under which frontline workers would be asked to get vaccinated.
In another week or so, we should approve the final document at Cabinet and have it published in the Gazette. And within 1 month after that, they will come into effect. In the meantime, I'm hoping for us to go to Parliament with a with a bill called the Public Service Management Bill. Basically, among other things, to give effect to the legal effect, just in case there's any doubt, to the civil service orders.
The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force Traffic Department has seen an increase in compliance of the COVID-19 protocols from omnibus operators since the ticketing regulation was put in place. This from Sergeant Kenny Jones on the Traffic Department of the SVG Police Force, who was on the Police Beat radio program on Monday. Sergeant Jones said the Traffic Department continues to work diligently to ensure that all omnibus drivers and conductors continue to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols.
The police standpoint, we have continued to carry out our stop and checks. We have dispatched police officers in strategic areas on the inside of Kingston and also on the outskirts of Kingston to ensure that persons adhere to these rules. Most of these rules are ticketed.
Yes.
You will be given a ticket once you're found in breach of these rules. So where a person failed to have a vaccination card or a valid negative result of a COVID-19 test, in their position, they would get a traffic ticket. Where they carry in a public service vehicle, a person not wearing a face mask fitted to his face, nose, or mouth or chin, they would also be issued with a traffic ticket. So that is the way that we have been going so far.
Noting that the work to ensure compliance could be challenging, the traffic cops said they are aware of some drivers who try to beat the system by taking alternative routes so that they can avoid inspection.
The omnibus drivers, most times, they would find a way around the system, because they have a very good communication network, and from time to time, they would try to take different routes in and out of Kingston to try and evade the police. The public continue to inform us of some of those routes, and we try to stretch our resources as far as possible to ensure everyone is safe and that persons really adhere to these rules for their own safety. From time to time, we meet with challenges. We work according to what the law says. That is our stronghold, because from time to time persons will refuse to eject, and we want the omnibus drivers to remember that under the COVID-19 rules, they would argue that my bus is licensed to carry 18 passengers. COVID-19 rule, it is saying that for 18-seater, which is most of the popular omnibuses on the road, that they should only carry 12. And under the Traffic Act, it is saying where you fail, the driver or the conductor fail to eject those excess passengers, the police may arrest the driver or the conductor, or may take whatever steps deemed necessary to prevent the vehicle from proceeding on its journey with such excess passengers. So that has also been another step that we have been taking. Once the drivers fail to eject those passengers, even after they have been ticketed, the police may arrest or take whatever steps deemed necessary to prevent the omnibus from going along its journey.
Sergeant Jones used the opportunity to encourage all omnibus drivers and conductors to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols, especially at a time when there is a spike in cases in the country.
Right. So according to the public health COVID-19 rules that commence on the 5th of April 2021, and it says that both driver and conductor of a public service vehicle plying for hire are required to have a valid negative result of a COVID-19 test issued by the health officer free of charge. When it comes to the public service vehicle, it says that the public service vehicle shall not carry Driver shall not carry in a public service vehicle. Where the public service vehicle is licensed to carry, that's 7 passengers. They shall not carry more than 5 passengers. In the case where it is licensed to carry 14 passengers, public service vehicle shall not carry more than 9 passengers.
Yes.
In the case of the 18-seater omnibuses, they shall not carry more than 12 passengers. And in the case of the 21-seater, they shall not carry more than 15. And the 25 and the 26 seaters, no more than 17 and 19, respectively.
With less than 2 weeks left for the reopening of schools, Cabinet is to decide on what teaching format will be used for the start of the new academic year, which is scheduled to commence on October 4th. Prime Minister Gonsalves said that a technical meeting was already held by the Ministry of Education, and with the rising COVID-19 cases in SVG, it is probable that a blended teaching approach will be adopted.
It may be, as I'm seeing the data, that we may have to do, and given the COVID guidelines, the COVID protocols, we probably will have to do some mixed teaching and learning between the face-to-face and also virtual. I think this is where the vaccination is so important, for us to up our numbers.
Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves said that the financial support which persons who were affected by the volcanic eruption received from the World Food Programme through Western Union could be extended to December. The financial assistance from the World Food Programme comes to an end in October. Speaking on radio today, Prime Minister Gonsalves said the matter will be discussed at Cabinet today, as he hopes the government will pick up where the WFP left off and continue to offer the financial support.
I had put on the table the requisite for us in the government to see how we can fund those things down to December, the end of December. Poor families, and especially with women and children, single parent households and so on. But it's difficult to disaggregate them, so you have to do it for everybody who under the World Food Programme and associated programs. They come to an end by October. I wouldn't like to see the families, and particularly women and children, things get suspended. And you have November and very much so December, Christmas. We have to make sure that we have a heart now.
There are more than 270 persons who remain in 15 government shelters as of Monday, September 20th. 10 of the shelters are schools, and as preparations are being made for the reopening of schools in October, Prime Minister Gonsalves said on radio this morning that they are exploring options to house these shelterees as they face the challenge of getting homes to rent. He said that in the meantime, as rental houses are being sourced, the former Sandy Bay Secondary School building is being constructed to be used as a temporary shelter for persons north of Rabuka.
Because there hasn't been such a big uptick, what Montgomery Daniel is doing in North Windward, in Sandy Bay, where the old secondary school was located, which includes the Learning Resource Center and a couple of other buildings. He's doing we gave permission for him to do some renovations on those and to see if we can make them habitable as shelters for a short period of time, particular sections for some of the older folks, and some, for instance, who have dementia, who would need special care, and some other shelterees, while we repair their homes, while we build other homes, and while we finish the old Simpson building at Orange Hill.
The Prime Minister made an appeal for homeowners and landlords to come forward to rent their properties.
In fact, at Red Cross, I saw a blast on my phone from Red Cross. I don't know if you saw one. Yeah, I saw a notice on it. And I'm encouraging persons to do that. Some people are reluctant to rent their places, the Red Cross or the government for the shelteries, but please, help out where you can. I'm appealing to you so that we can get these persons out. We have had a couple of places rented, but not enough, and they were trying to see if they could get a guest house with enough rooms to hold a certain number and so on and so forth, because we have the school deadline coming.
18 police officers of the Royal St. Vincent's and the Grenadines Police Force are now in a better position to execute their duties in crime scene search and recovery classification in fingerprint evidence. Today, those officers who participated in the Criminal Records Office CRO training course received their certificate of completion at the closing ceremony at the Old Montrose Police Station. At the ceremony, Sergeant Brian Archibald gave an overview of the training course.
PC Williams, Corporal John, ex-Inspector Henry, and Inspector Williams, we pool our resources together and make this course a reality. Today, I am proud to say that we have 17 persons graduating after being trained in various areas in the fingerprint module, such as the health and safety, history of fingerprinting, the laws of fingerprinting, the fingerprinting system, the theory of powdering, lifting continuity and security, fingerprint photography, fingerprint cadavers, chemical treatment, the fingerprinting of motor vehicles, 10 prints, and the challenge of this program, classification of fingerprinting.
Sergeant Archibald said now that the officers have more knowledge in the field, it is his hope that they will use what they have learned in the execution of their duties.
Are leaving here, completing their training, which I admonish them have not yet ended, because they have a special task to complete for me on Friday. You will have nothing, and then we'll determine your grades. However, no one has failed, and what impressed me most is your effort to learn. I saw at times persons leaving their seat and coming to the front of the class just to grasp the information that was imparted on it. And I must say how happy I am for this. And when I see you perform like that, I know I am happy.
Also addressing the closing ceremony was Commissioner of Police Colin John, who thanked the instructors of the training sessions for their time and effort in imparting their knowledge to the participants.
We have resources among us, and we are utilizing those resources. I'm one of the persons who believe that not because the policy of the government or because of the age of a person that he has to retire at a particular age, that whenever he retires from the organization, he immediately take leave of his senses or his capability in certain areas. I strongly encourage the participation and utilization of our resources in terms of the retired police officers. We have seen retired police officers assist us in various endeavors in the organization. We have seen former Superintendent Ballantyne come to the training school. And
Commissioner John also encouraged the participants to remain focused and to do their jobs to the best of their ability, noting that the effectiveness of the SVG Police Force is to train and develop its human resources.
these changes, criminals, they are finding innovative ways of conducting their business, their nefarious practices. And as police officers, we have to ensure that we are equipped to successfully counteract their activities. Hence, the need for training and continued training. Fingerprinting is an old art, one that has been tried and tested. And the fact that we are equipping you for the task ahead, it is very important. Forensic is very much a current science, and it's an area where lots of opportunities present themselves. So you are given the basic here today. You are encouraged to continue your professional development.
A young man of Mount Bentic Bay Road, Georgetown, died last evening after he reportedly lost control of the car he was driving on the Connery Main Road. Damian Pompey, who was reportedly the lone person in the car, was rushed to the Georgetown Medical Complex for medical attention, where he reportedly died. Pompey was an employee of Carrez Distribution Limited for some 10 years and was the manager of the food store in Canawan. In a Facebook post today, the company extended condolences to his family and friends, noting that Damian was an integral part of the Carrez family and they will miss his bright and fun-loving personality.